Hi everyone. Today on my comic art video, I'm going to go over my Barry Kitson pages, my actual comic pages. I have this one on top because this is just the coolest thing ever. I had already done a video on this, and I had recently put it in a frame and added a bit of a custom mat with Black Cat getting a black and white design on one side and Spidey getting the blue and red on the other. But I had to show it again just because I'm doing a Barry Kitson video, so that goes off to the side and then back on the wall where it belongs. So these are my two Barry Kitson art pages, my comic art pages. These are the actual pages that go into the production of a comic book. And I'm kind of glad that they're in different versions here. Whereas this one here is just a straight pencil. And this one is the pencil, ink, and letters. Back in the day, an artist would get a blank board. He'd lay out his pencils, much like this here, but then he would then send all of his pencil pages to the inker, who would then put all the inks on it. And then the inker would send them off, I believe, to the letterer, and the letterer would add all the dialogue that got sent to him from the writer. So this was all hand done, and it went from person to person to person until it was a finished page. Then that was used in the production of the comic book. And so there's only one of these for any given page of a comic book. And that's up until late 90s, early 2000s, depending on the artist and the inker. Some started earlier, some started later. In this case, both of these are Barry Kitson pages. I had a couple of different tries at his convention art line, where his line is kind of like half a community, where you get to your show on Friday or Saturday, depending on the show, and if Barry Kitson is there, what you end up doing is everybody goes right to the Barry Kitson table, the people who are interested in Barry Kitson art. You then establish your position in line. Your position in line does not change from day to day. If you are sixth in line on Friday and 4 people get taken care of, then you simply come back on Saturday and you're number 2 in line. There is not a new line every day. When Barry Kitson does his convention art, back to this is a convention art piece, not a mail-away commission. He really does it up. It is a process by which you have to survive the line, so to speak, because he spends 45 minutes or so on each piece. And so you can understand that there's not a lot of pieces that get done on any given day. So if you're number 12 in line, you got half a shot of getting a piece if you keep going back. But the problem is, you're in line. You can't leave the line. I mean, you can go to the bathroom or get a soda if the guy behind you doesn't mind, but you don't get to leave the line. So you end up giving up parts of your convention depending on how quickly you can get into his line. So I had tried his line twice before, and I think the first time I lasted like an hour. I think I was number 8 or so, and I just couldn't do it. I could see myself giving up the entire day standing or sitting or what have you, and it just wasn't going to happen. So I gave up. And then the next year, I think they were both Baltimore shows. The next year I stood in his line again. I think this time I may have lasted 2.5 hours. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. It was an agony, but it was not something I wanted to endure So I'm standing there, and of course he has more than just whatever he's doing for art. He has all his portfolios where he's selling his pages. And so to kill some time, I'm flipping through portfolios. This is actually before I was really into comic art pages. So I'm going through and going through and going through. And Barry Kitson's such a good artist, and he has a diverse amount of credits to his name for DC and Marvel and what have you, over a course of time, where back in the day he did pencil ink letters, and then these days he does pencil only. So I find these 2 pages, and I pulled them out. I was doing pretty good that convention. I had money to go home with up until that point. And I looked at both of them. I mean, I'm a Spider-Man guy through and through. This one was pretty much coming with me, one way or the other. And the reason, I'll jump over to that for now. And the reason is, and pardon the shakiness, I have my my phone cam set up on a gooseneck, and it when I move, it kind of shakes a little, but we're good. So, first of all, this is a straight pencil piece, a pencil page from Amazing Spider-Man 604. This is a chameleon arc. And so at this point, Barry Kitson is into the pencils, which he will then scan. They will come out as a blue line, and then that will get shipped to the inker, where the inker will then add the inks over the blue line. So what you end up having is you have the original Barry Kitson pencil page, and then you have the inker inked page. So there are 2 pages of this out there. This is the, and I'm not throwing shade on inkers. This is, to me, there are some inkers that do a great job, and I have no problems buying an inked page, but I was looking for a Barry Kitson page as I was floating through these portfolios. This is the page that Barry Kitson put his stamp on. It's a Spider-Man page. It's got a big third splash of Spidey after he picked up a mask of Peter Parker. So he's actually looking at himself. And I've seen the page, and what he's saying is, "Hello, handsome," as he's looking to himself, of course. But at the same time, it's a nicely detailed page. He's watching other stuff. He's then webbing away and then webbing away. It's a well-crafted page as well. I do prefer inks and letters and everything on one, but I wasn't going to pass this up. And when I asked his assistant what both of these pages would cost, we came up with a very reasonable price. I could probably double my money on these, but I'm not looking to. These 2 pages are staying with me, much like the commission there with the Black Cat. I am not getting rid of these. I have sold a few lately, but not these 2 pages. Now, regarding this other page, this being the full pencils, inks, and letters, it's a Batman page, and I like Spidey and I like Batman. What I do like about it is, as you're looking at it, if you go panel to panel, it's a psychiatrist's office. It's Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, number 146. And he's in a psychiatrist's office. And then he's here. And what you're seeing is he's staring at something. Now, at first, I didn't know if it was a picture or what. And then the next panel, he's obviously staring at the aquarium. And they're having a frank discussion. She's allowing Batman into her office, and they're discussing, I'm guessing, a bad guy. I have the issue, but I didn't pull it out. And at the end, there's a nice exchange between them, where they come to a certain agreement on the psychology of a bad guy, and Batman doesn't usually go in for pleasantries, but you can see that there's definitely a little something going on here, that they at least enjoyed their exchange, which was nice. Barry does a great job with stuff like this. I'm very happy to have both of these pages. Again, I am not giving these up. And what it shows is it shows the difference between old school and new school. And I mean, it is what it is. They are both inscribed, signed to me. One of the reasons I did that was because the minute I saw them and paid for them and had them, I knew I wasn't going to get rid of them. And so if I'm going to have them, I want them to have my name on it. Just a very nice guy. These are my Barry Kitson pages once again. I think the next version of my videos I'm going to grab some more pages and talk about that some more. But I hope you enjoyed this episode of my comic art commissions / pages. I hope you enjoy all my videos. And I hope you come back soon. And have a nice day.